news. We begin tonight with a major economic loss for our region. General Motors is stopping production of the Bright Drop delivery van at the Kami assembly plant in Ingersoll, a decision with major implications for the community and the wider manufacturing industry.
It does create a lot of uncertainty for those 1,200 jobs. What is going to happen next? Certainly, GM has indicated that it might have future plans for this facility, but they have not spelled out what those are exactly.
Something unusual is brewing in Ontario, silently rewriting the narrative of Canada's electric destiny. What was once cheered as a daring leap into a greener, cutting-edge age has veered off course in surprising ways. Not long ago, a billion-dollar bet transformed a modest industrial town into a beacon of promise. The Kami Ingersoll plant was poised to spearhead Canada's push into electric vehicle production, with leaders hailing it as the opening of a fresh economic era. But today, that same facility has fallen quiet. GM stopped making its Bright Drop electric vans, stranding hundreds of workers in uncertainty and sparking doubts about where things went awry. Throughout Ontario, suppliers, unions, and municipalities rushed to react. Yet, rather than pandemonium, the response was measured and precise. Employees got retrained, deals were reworked, and towns found paths to sustain their livelihoods. As other countries grapple with shutdowns and widespread job losses, Canada appeared strangely tough, almost primed for the hit. How did that come about? How did a nation hit by the same worldwide forces manage to stay firm while others stumbled? And might this understated toughness be uncovering something profound about Canada's true economic muscle? When word spread that General Motors was pausing Bright Drop electric delivery van output in Ontario, it seemed like the kickoff to yet another factory downfall. The Kami Ingersoll site had stood as an icon of Canada's electric tomorrow, a spot where hope once overshadowed skepticism. But this round, the hush in the plant held a heavier meaning. For the staff, the unknowns weren't fresh. Still, the prospect of a lasting shutdown landed harder. The halt looked like the newest sign of a bigger unraveling spanning nations. An economic quake that didn't originate in Canada, but in Washington. The trigger fired earlier with the Trump administration slapping a 25% tariff on Canadian-built vehicles. The blow landed swift. Expenses spiked, components grew scarce, and schedules dragged. Carmakers hooked on smooth cross-border flows suddenly confronted equations that no longer balanced. GM's own data laid out the harm plainly. More than $1 billion in tariff hits in a single quarter, with yearly losses heading toward $5 billion. The firm had to make tough calls nobody wanted, and the Bright Drop operation turned into one of the victims. Yet, as the U.S. side reeled from the pressure, a starkly different scene played out up north. Canada's countermeasures were methodical, almost exact. Instead of letting fear take hold, Ottawa acted fast to bolster the sector. Aid packages launched in mere weeks, tax breaks, supply chain subsidies, and area-specific funds crafted to hold everything steady. Smaller vendors once tied to U.S. imports shifted focus homeward, building local components and slashing ties to the erratic American scene. The government skipped mirroring Washington's hostility with counterstrikes. It zeroed in on steadiness. And that cool, intentional tactic started setting Canada apart from its neighbors. While U.S. plants endured waves of interruptions in their assembly lines, Canadian ones held remarkably even. What played out in Ontario went beyond tariffs or trade spats. It was a masterclass in adjustment, molded by Canada's own tough truths. Electric rides encounter distinct hurdles in northern weather, where freezing temps can slash battery range and performance big time. Studies from the Canadian Automobile Association showed that in 7 to 15 degree Celsius conditions, EV range can plunge 14% to 39%. For a delivery van like Bright Drop, that spelled missed goals and growing headaches in winter. In a land where nearly 2/3 of EV users note clear winter dips, the weather itself turned into an obstacle. But rather than viewing the cold as a barrier, Canada saw it as an engineering puzzle to crack. All over Ontario, fresh startups tinkered with cold-proof battery tech built to hum along in brutal winters. Labs teamed up with schools, while delivery outfits like Purolator and Canada Post began switching to hybrid and hydrogen fleets for all-season dependability. What kicked off as a tech stumble morphed into a spark for invention. The very climate that once dragged Canada's electric dreams was now fueling its upcoming wave of advances.